Hey, everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. You know this man in front of me very well, Patrick Moore from Texas. Welcome. How are you in this zombie apocalypse thing we're all dealing with?
Well, man, it's crazy, man. Not in our lifetime that I think we would have to deal with something like this that's ultimately going to land in the history books. I mean, the kids 20, 30 years from now are going to read about this and they're probably going to say, man, I would have hated to live in that time. And
Mm,
because we've read about stuff like this, I'm sure when there were pandemics prior to, our generation and how that must have been. You think how fortunate we are to have social media and all these things that entertain us. Imagine if this was some years ago when you actually had to just sit in the house with your family or significant other with nothing to do.
I also feel like social media hurts us in a way because a lot of people are spreading panic and fear and misinformation, and it's Facebook is like the worst. If you're on Facebook now, and it's you'll lose your mind reading some of the things people are posting. But
Yeah, I
uh,
haven't even been on Facebook and Instagram. And that's why I post on my story like, everyone calm down because what you're doing. The saddest part is that the people who aren't able to do for themselves. So you have the elderly, maybe
mm,
even the handicapped, the people that can't get resources normally as it is. So
mm,
when there's a shortage of things down here in Texas, we have the store HEB, right, which is great. They're amazing. They do a lot of stuff for the community. They had to go to the point to where they were limiting the amount of people going in the store, I think down to like 15.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
why I posted on my story. I was like, you guys need to calm down because you have the stores looking like Black Friday every day. And that's what it was because you would drive by the store and the lines were just crazy. And so you go in and everyone's hoarding everything. And I'm like, you guys aren't listening. Even Cuomo, the guy in New York, is on TV now.
yeah.
He said it. The stores are not shutting down. You can get food. You can get the things you need. And
Yeah.
everyone's just panicking. And then I noticed a particular person on social media that has a following urged everyone to go and get supplies for like 2, 3 weeks. And I'm like,
Mhm.
God, don't do that because you're spreading it and people. It's not a
Yeah.
lockdown status. It's in order to stay home. That's just the benefit. You're allowed to go out. So when
Right.
everyone's doing that, man, it makes it hard for everyone, and it just sucks all around because some people really buy into the panic,
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate.
Well, I got to know because you're a bodybuilder like everyone watching this in some capacity. What's your gym situation like? What's your food situation like right now?
Fortunately, I have a gym that I can train at, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Ah, damn you.
I know, right? And so it's cool when people and they look out for you because for me, not that I'm any better than the normal gym goer, but this is my life. So
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
2, 3 weeks, a month out of the gym is going to be detrimental, especially with the aspect that I may be showing again this year.
Yep.
That time that I'm losing could be crucial, So I'm fortunate enough for that. I don't rub it in anyone's face. I wish everyone could still chase their fitness goals, but unfortunately, with the situation we have, that's just not possible. But
Yeah.
as far as the food situation, I was able to get to the store and get some things that I needed. Uh, the I went in yesterday, and me and my wife we split. She went one way, I went the other,
Smart.
and
That was smart.
yeah. And so I was able to get some chicken and stuff. And so
Huh?
the good thing is, since I'm not in a hard prep right now, I'm able to have a good mix between the food that I need for a diet, and then I mix in a little bit of junk food here and there, and then it kind of spreads it out because, like we were saying, I don't want to be the person hoarding all the chicken, and
Yeah.
families out there can't feed their family. So I kind of be rational about that when I go into the store. So I'm good. More carbs than anything now, so it's pretty. It helps out that I'm able to be active and I don't have to be that strict and go in and buy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Because chicken is becoming a commodity in the United States right now.
Jesus
Costco's
Christ.
sold out. BJ sold out. Supermarkets sold out. They're gonna have to make more chickens quick.
Yeah, I was gonna go to the store in the tank top, so this way, once I
Ah,
find one with some chicken, I'm like, I'll fight you for that chicken.
I've
So just
been
give me a.
seeing a lot of fights on social media.
Oh
People with
man,
their phones. Oof.
yeah, dude, it's crazy. And over toilet paper, it's
Yeah.
madness. And it seems like at least the neighborhood store here that's closest to my house, uh, I was able to shop fairly easy. There wasn't a lot of urgency. Seemed like with the customers running around the stores, so I was able to get what I needed, pretty easily.
How did this affect your competitive season? Because you were thinking about doing Australia the last
Hmm.
I talked to you, right day after Ohio.
Yeah.
Um, obviously that got canceled. Did you have other shows on your radar for the spring, or was that pretty much going to be it?
So the Australia, I was definitely in line for that. So I was on the schedule for that show, and it was going to be play by ear after that. The Olympia, it was really kind of up in the air
Mm,
because 10th place was good, but I have to be realistic. Like I tell a lot of people, and this sport takes time. So I
yeah,
was gonna have to make an educated decision as to what had I qualified, was I gonna sit this one out and just maybe do a show post Olympia for the
yeah.
qualification of 2021 and then come back then. But what happened in Ohio, just terrible. Yeah, I won't say terrible, but it wasn't as good as my
Well,
last show.
of course, I had to get into this because we haven't talked. We talked briefly the morning after, but we haven't really talked about it.
Yeah,
So, I knew I was following you closely between the Olympia and Arnold because, I like to see people that improve and are really getting after it like you are. And you had been making improvements. You were looking great. Put size. You definitely had extra size.
yeah,
Condition was really good. I know the lighting's always different on stage, and everything, but still, when I saw you come out, it was one of those situations where I was like, oh no, what happened, man? He was looking so good. And I hate that because I know you must have been crushed because you knew how good you should have looked up there. You would have been, I don't know where you would have placed had you been looking the way you should have looked, but fifth, sixth would not have been out of the possibility at all, I don't think.
yeah.
Even in that strong lineup. You were fuller, crisp, everything was coming together, but what happened? Why didn't we see that on stage in Ohio?
Uh, First I'll just lead off and say, man, I'm very coachable. And anyone who knows me, I'm a former boxer, basketball player. So I'm the guy. If you tell me to do something, I'm gonna do it. So I just followed the instructions. The mark was missed. Unfortunately, I knew it going out on stage. I was backstage. Hunter was back there with me. Lee was back there. And wife was back there. And of course, you're gonna keep your poker face because I don't want to stress my own body out. Last minute like that because there's really virtually nothing I could do. And I noticed that I wasn't getting the right. I wasn't getting a pump. I wasn't holding a pump. It was not there. If you'll notice in my individual routine when I was going through the mandatories, there was
Yeah.
a transition from I believe it was a I did the abdominal thigh, I think, and I almost skipped the side tricep. I
Hmm.
just was not, and I had to double back. You'll see, I actually did a turn to go back to the left side, and just my mind was not in it because I knew, I wasn't on,
Yeah.
and it was really tough, man, because the progress pictures, everything was spot on. People behind the scenes had seen what I looked like leading into the show, and everyone was like, "Oh man, this is great. You're gonna do great." We were like a week and a half out, 2 weeks, and glutes were striated, hamstrings were dug in. I was full. Everything was good. I got out there about Tuesday, started following instructions, and about Wednesday, Thursday, I started having some severe cramps that were really bad, and I didn't pay any mind to it because, like I said, I'm just going with the flow, hoping this pans out to be, what it should be. And
Hmm.
it didn't. And it's one of those lessons that sucks for me big time because I always tell people it's about beating my last look. So it wasn't a placing. It wasn't about who placed in front of me. I don't really care about that because for me, as far as placing, if I'm not first, you're last. I mean
Hmm.
that's just how it goes because first
Sure.
place is the only one guaranteed a spot at the Olympia.
Right.
So second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, we're all in the same boat.
Hmm.
One has more points than the other. That's about it.
Yeah.
And the check. But I wasn't. Fortunate enough for me, I landed the great deal with Young Nutrition. So that now is going to give me a chance to actually live like a bodybuilder because even going into that prep with the Arnold, I was still working full time, still trying to manage getting meals in, and that's tough to do when you're a personal trainer because I'm doing split shifts.
Hmm.
So I've always had a bit of an uphill battle coming into the sport late from a totally different spectrum, a whole nother sport that wasn't anything like this. And so for me, I kind of where other guys can kind of follow a trajectory like this, I kind of have to get a steeper pattern.
Hmm.
So the Arnold was a huge setback for me as far as I guess I could say my career path and statistic wise. I
Yeah.
didn't. I want to be better every single show. And the fact that I wasn't better that show, I wasn't bad. I mean,
Mm.
but there was that I was flat, and there
Yeah.
was that film of water. My body just didn't like what was going on, and it reacted negatively, and ultimately I paid the price for it, unfortunately. So,
You know,
uh,
one thing that surprised me that you said right before we started recording was you weren't even 100% happy with the way you looked at the Olympia. And I thought you looked great at the Olympia. Were you a little flat at the Olympia too?
I was completely flat at the Olympia.
Hmm.
And people don't realize that. And it's funny because, and this is no knock against the other guys. I think because I was so lean, it made it look like, wow, it's just condition is great, it's blown away. But if you notice, I posted a picture of the two, the Arnold and Olympia side by side. Only difference was the lighting and the glaze. That was definitely a standout part. But you can see when I pulled the Christmas tree back, it was as defined at the Arnold as it was at the Olympia.
Hmm.
Now the glutes and hamstrings had the slight film of water, but other than that, there wasn't like a huge stark comparison. Like one was a level 10 and the other was level 1.
Right.
But I wasn't full at the Olympia, and post Olympia I filled out just like I did at this show. I posted a picture a couple days later, and my delts were all popping and stuff like that. But I have not reached the best so far yet.
Hmm.
And it was the same situation in California. Um,
Hmm.
I actually got better at the night show in California. I was able to fill out a little bit there, but that's because I threw in some little tricks with some fats and stuff that kind of made my body look, better, give it some more pop. And I actually saw Jay Cutler backstage at that show and at the finals, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Man, you look great. You're definitely better than this morning." So unfortunately, this time it just didn't pan out. So and I'm gonna have to reevaluate some things and see what's going on as far as what I'm gonna do next. I
Yeah.
have there's With everything that's going on, it seems like the shows that are possible will be after May 9th. So that kind of puts me,
Hopefully, hopefully,
hopefully, yeah.
hopefully. Yeah.
So for me, it's going to be one of those deals where I have to decide on New York, California, or Puerto Rico, and then a decision will have to be made, which I'm leaning more towards shutting it down and focusing on 2021 so I can grow some more. But that's going to be the purpose of doing one of those shows is because I have to have that good showing before I
Hmm.
shut it down. When I play basketball, I would never leave the gym before I hit a 3-point shot.
Hmm.
That was always my rule. So the same thing applies here. I'm not going to go out for the year with a bad showing,
Yeah.
and it's a bad showing for me because it wasn't better than my last.
Well, the fans are very, very fickle. They turn on you so fast.
Oh,
After the Olympia was so much love for Patrick Moore, and at the Arnold's, man, this guy was all hype. He's
yeah.
overrated. I was like, wow,
Yo,
man, really, really, one show? Come on, guys, come on.
what's the craziest part about that, man, is you know, I can see when people say hype. Hype is something that someone creates. They say, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You know, those are just expectations. People expected me to be something that they wanted. They wanted. So I can't say there was hype, and then it's new. All no offense to all the other guys, but they're old. They've been there. Time they and I mean old in the aspect like people have
I
seen
know, I
them
know.
for you.
Right.
And so when you see someone that comes along and it's a completely different look than the rest of the guys, and it is. That's just the fact of the matter. It's
Yeah.
no knock against them, which is going to bring us on the next point. But everyone, oh man, they loved it. And it's funny because I'm unfazed by it. I saw the same thing happen with Ronnie, with Phil, and I'm sure it happened with other champions before too. Not that I'm a champion yet,
Yeah.
but that's how it goes. Is they'll be for you, and then the minute you make a misstep, then they're happy that you lost, or they're happy you didn't achieve your goal. And some people were messaging me and commenting, "You weren't better. You should have did this. You just like you thought you were gonna ha ha ha." And I'm really unfazed by it because I told my wife, I said, "Well." um, I go back to my regular life, and they have to go back to their regular life. So at the end of the day, if you're not me, you really can't. You don't really have a fish, you know, in that pond,
Yeah.
really. So the
And
people that are
as
happy,
your friend Phil Heath will tell you, if you do really well, they're going to hate you for that too. So,
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
most definitely, man. There was people even after 10th place. I would just put positive message out, and people would say, "Don't get cocky. You're too cocky." I'm cocky from a 10th place finish.
Yeah, really.
Okay,
Wow.
so it was crazy, man. And even this one, I addressed it on my social media, and I was pretty much done with it. That clown, Kamali or whatever his name is,
King
uh,
Kamali.
yeah, he was chasing for clout chasing. He I think he wants some hype since he's definitely old, and his physique was terrible. I'll go on record saying that he did not have a good physique, and I think it was offensive to
Right.
me and to other athletes in his review when he said that I was a classic competitor. Um,
Hmm.
so
Wait,
what would
like as if you belong in classic physique, not open
yeah,
bodybuilding?
yeah.
Okay.
He said to come down, streamline my physique, and I don't think what that dude understands is for my height, 5'10", 5'9", that weight cutoff is 207. I
Ooh,
was 238 on the Arnold stage,
just
so
drop
that's
31 pounds of muscle. Sure.
yeah. So that was very stupid on his part. But then furthermore, even with some of these other guys, I'm surprised that the open, which I'm open, but these other guys that includes everyone why they don't get offended when they call someone like me a classic bodybuilder. So what I draw from that, as I thought about it, after he made that comparison.
Mm,
So what does it mean for you to be open? Does that mean you don't have a small waist? You don't have a pretty physique? Um, I'm really confused as to why this structure that I carry is classic,
yeah.
or for a classic physique because I'm much bigger. If you put me next to a guy my height on a class, I'm gonna dwarf him. Like I said, I'm 30 pounds muscle bigger than my co-competitors would be had I gone down to that weight class. So I would think that the other guys would have jumped on him for that too, because what makes a guy classic? It's that's a
I,
question.
I think there's a certain element of guys who believe that to be an open bodybuilder now, you have to weigh a minimum of like 260 or 270. Everyone else should just lose some weight and go down to classic. Like, because we have classic now, open is only supposed to be for the mass monster, big Rami, Kuklo, these big, gigantic freaks. And if you're not one of them, so what would we have? Like five guys competing in the world in the open at that point? Something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Because let me tell you, man, the sign of the times, dude, that's changing.
Yeah.
Because and I'm just the start of it. Sean Roden was the start of it. It's guys can be bigger with a streamlined physique,
Yeah.
and that's all I'm going to end up proving when this is over. And it just takes time to build a physique. So where people think I should look like this or I should look like that, no, it doesn't work like that. Imagine that's a challenge for me to challenge these bigger guys.
Mm.
That's exciting for me because I have something to chase. I have a goal, and when I reach it, then I'll have a sense of accomplishment because I didn't fold and say, well, let me just blow up then.
Yeah.
Because we all know, man, I could go blow up and gain a bunch of weight. I
Sure.
mean, that's not hard. I'm a bodybuilder. I have friends that are bodybuilders. I could easily go to them and say, hey, man, how can I gain 30 pounds, 40 pounds? We've seen
Yeah.
other guys do it, blow up in weight, but then that's pointless because then my whole point of doing this and being different and keeping the physique I have, it'll just be blown, and then
Yeah.
I'll be just like they'll talk crap, So it's a no-win situation. So for him to go on and say, "Oh, you should do classic," that's dumb, man. I mean,
Mm.
back then there wasn't any classic or 212 or anything. Lee Labrada was in the same class as Dorian Yates.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's bodybuilding. There shouldn't be, oh, you should have this look. You should be huge, and that makes you open. No, that's stupid.
Well, you know what? I'm going to use King Kamali as an example because when he first turned pro, he was always lacking a couple things anyway. He didn't have the greatest physique, but he looked way better when he was smaller, streamlined, conditioned. But then he tried to get really big and just
Yeah,
he ruined his physique,
yeah,
destroyed it, like so
yeah,
many other guys that I've seen.
yeah.
So
And
yeah,
he went further to say, Patrick, this is my advice to you: don't ruin your physique by taking a bunch of insulin and trying to gain a bunch of weight. Well, just because you are weak-minded and you folded to do whatever you did to blow your physique, dude,
mm,
we're not the same mentally. I Whether I have a 10th place finish or a first place finish, I'm gonna stick to my game plan. I'm gonna keep the physique because this will be what I'm known for. You know, having a small waist, broad shoulders, and athletic built physique, and that's what I'm gonna stick to. I don't really care what anyone's recommendations are. It's I have to prove that I look better or am better than the guys on the stage. That's it. Not the old bodybuilders that have a microphone and they want to say this and because that's what it is. But that's you know what I mean, man.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The ones
But
that spew the nonsense. See, that's the difference between your show and other people. Is you're always straight up. You've given me even off camera. You've given me advice that was relevant. Like, yeah, Patrick, I think you should do this. I think this. I think that. It's constructive. That's what you do when you're an older guy and you're experienced and you've seen a lot. So to say, hey, pretty much back down from your goals, you should go to a lower class. He even said that. I think you'll feel better in a smaller show with your hand raised, and then in the mix at the Olympia, giving Bumstead and Breon a run for their money. I had to scratch my head when I was like, wow, this guy is a clown. Yeah, so um, but crazy times, man. It's it is what it is. I have to take the good with the bad. Like you said, there's if I do bad, they'll throw stones. If I do too good, they'll throw stones. So I just keep doing what I'm doing.
I got a random question just because this has been going through my mind ever since we talk about how you go flat when you pull so much water. I know you haven't competed that much, but did you ever compete in any shows where you didn't cut water at all?
I had so when I turned pro at the USA's,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah.
was 2017. I was a few years in the sport then. That was the show that I did cardio 3 times a week at 15 minutes,
Okay.
and which the physique was crazy good for
Yeah,
that amount.
it
Uh,
was.
we didn't. There was no cut of water. There was no crazy low carb, and that was a good showing. And I remember after that show, my body rebounded so well,
Mm,
and it seems like now, since I've been pro, I've been having trouble hitting that again
yeah,
because it shouldn't be that hard because I'm an athlete. I stay in shape year round. If someone was to see me 4 months from now and this is 4 months post to Arnold, they're gonna probably, man, that's crazy. You stay in good shape year round. So
yeah,
I'm not the kind of guy that you have to take extreme measures to get a stage ready look. I could do it the old school way simply by pulling sodium, and
right.
increasing the water. I think that's better for my body. The other way I think is being too harsh. That route my body just doesn't like it, and it has yet to respond positively to it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to reevaluate everything at this
Well,
point because I refuse to have another showing like this one that was underwhelming. It did not meet my standards, and that's the biggest thing is regardless of what anyone else thinks, I didn't look how I wanted to look because man, I put in so much work and I did
mhm.
improve. I was 4 pounds heavier, like I said, in stage weight. And had I had that last, yeah, I can't really say I wasn't watery. I was just flat because
Yeah.
the next day I filled out and my glutes, hamstrings, everything was there. I mean, it was literally couldn't have been 18 hours later, and it was there. And I saw my buddy, and he was just like, "This is crazy." He said,
Yeah.
"What happened last night?" I said, "Man, I don't know, man. We just missed the mark." So,
Well, here's the thing. I'm not a well, I am a prep coach to some amateur guys, but I don't pretend to be on the level of a Chad or a Chris or a Hani or these guys. But I do believe if somebody's lean enough, if you get all the fat off your body, which you've done, and unless you're taking certain compounds that cause you to retain a ton of water, you're not holding a ton of water anyway. So when you take these pharmaceutical diuretics, it's just sucking water out of your muscles.
yes,
From my own personal experience as a crappy national competitor, um, the last show I did, I got very very lean, glutes, all that was in, but one of my buddies like, here, have a Diazide. I'm like, oh, all right, sure, Diazide. Well, 2 o'clock in the morning, give me another one. Yeah, okay. So it got me 5% sharper than I was, 25% flatter. Not a good
yeah,
trade off, and
no,
I think that's a similar ratio for you.
yeah, 100% exactly the ratio. And because if you can keep that fullness, well, once you start pumping up a little bit, that muscle is going to push against the skin. It will pull in some water as you start to pose. And, we've heard that where guys start to pose and they get better and better as they pose because their muscles start to pull everything in. And that could have easily been the case for me. I was before I flew out that Monday morning. I got to Ohio on Tuesday. I sent pictures. I saw my buddy prior the night before, and he was like, "You're ready." I saw John Sherman, Lee, everyone, and they were, "You're good. You're good. This is going to be a great show." And they were telling me, "Oh man, fourth, fifth place, sixth place, you're definitely going to be in the mix. You're gonna."
Yeah.
This was based on the look I had, so I was highly disappointed that it went downhill so quick when I got there. And it was simple, and that's what I always preach. If you're ready 2 weeks, a week ahead of time, you don't need any hat tricks. You're there. So
I call it voodoo.
yeah, and so I know when I saw my glutes, man, that would have been I would have been good, because then all you have to do is fill me out. I mean, all the fat was off my. You can even see at the Meet the Olympians. I did a couple of interviews. Meet the Athletes meeting
Yeah, yeah.
at the Arnold. My face was sucked in. I mean, I was there.
Yeah, you look like Skeletor.
Yeah, and so, man, things just go too far, and ultimately I end up paying the price for it, and it's just a lesson learned. I'm not
Exactly.
sour about it. If anything, that bad showing will make the next one look that much more spectacular.
Exactly. And like I said, people have short memories.
Yeah,
Next show you do, you look awesome, you place well. Nobody's even going to remember this Arnold Classic. That's how it
yeah.
is.
And I hope the guys that are watching that aren't even pro yet, they can take lessons from when I experience these things. Like, man, you're gonna bounce back. I was upset. I mean, like I said, not the placing; it was a showing, because
Yeah.
I only have to prove myself right every time. That's all I care about. And if I do that, I can be happy with whatever the judges give me. Hey, I beat my last look, so if I keep doing that, I'm gonna get better. This time that wasn't the case, and like I said, I was pretty upset. It bothered me for a couple of days, and then I'm not that pretentious, man. So I had to say, hey, dude, it's not that big of a deal. I had a self check in the car once I landed on my way home. Like, it's not that big of a deal, man. You had a bad showing. Suck it up, because are you gonna fold? No, you're not. You're gonna keep going. So don't worry about it. Move past it. And so then immediately at that moment, my eyes were like, okay, what's next? So now we'll have to. I wasn't expecting this crisis to go on. I was hoping the Arnold
Nobody was.
Australia, I can redeem myself at the Arnold Australia. But it's cool. It might be in the cards, man. Like I said, if it pans out and the shows in May are all wiped out, I'm definitely going to shut it down, and that'll kind of work in my favor, because it's going to give me some time to grow.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering how this is going to pan out for the Olympia, because as pros, we don't have very many shows past May.
Right.
I think we have Toronto, Vancouver, Tampa, Chicago. I think we have maybe 4 or 5, and those are the qualifiers.
Right.
So it's kind of like, man, I'm wondering if they're going to change something with the point system or something, because there'll be a shortage of athletes because the guys won't be
They'll
able to
have to.
qualify.
They're definitely going to have to do that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. But if, like I said, if it goes past May, I'm going to shut it down and just focus on the next year.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be fine either way. You got a plan. You got a
Yeah.
backup plan. You're good, kid. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad we talked now instead of like right after the show, because you've had some time to think it over, some perspective, and it's always better to talk about a bad showing or a showing that you weren't happy with a week or two later versus like the day after, when emotions are just, you know,
Yeah. It's
everyone's
good, man.
still heated at the day after or 2 days
Yeah,
after.
because I never played a blame game. Man, it's this game is you're gonna live and learn playing this game of bodybuilding, and
Mhm.
it's just the mark was missed, a lesson was learned, and now, like I said, I just reevaluate where to go from here, because I'm not gonna stop. I just have to, and it's that one little thing too. So it's like just get that right,
Yeah.
and you're good to go. Because I do the work. Like I said, I was happy with the fact that I grew. So at least I nailed one aspect of what I said I was going to do. I said I was going to grow some, and I did. And now I believe that with even more food, because I wasn't getting a lot of food in the off season either. That's
Mm.
another thing I had to fix and correct. So now that I am, my weight is, I think I'm about 4 or 5 pounds from 260 now. And I wanted, before I could say anything about my weight, I wanted to make sure there wasn't any type of rebound. And
Yeah.
so there's not, I have some vascularity in my legs and stuff like that. So it's good weight that I've gained. So now I just have to keep on pounding the food over and over and over, on a daily basis, get after the workouts. And I think this next time that I'm out is going to be something really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not one of these top coaches, obviously, but if I looked at you and said, this guy used to play basketball at a high level, he's kind of ectomorphic, I would feed you. I would say, this guy needs to eat. You know, if he gets fat, we'll take some food away, but let's
Yeah,
see how much food we can pound into this human being
yeah.
successfully. But
I
well,
I
I'm
hadn't had I hadn't had that experience, man. But I am now, and so I think that's going to be a game changer. And like I said, big shout out to my new sponsor, Yamamoto Nutrition. They're going to having to deal with them is going to make it to where I can actually live like a bodybuilder and eat consistently on a daily basis and not be sporadic running around with clients and shifting schedules and stuff like that. So I think this prep, the next one that I do, I'm going to really enjoy it because I can actually live like some of the other guys I've seen. You know that's what they do. They just eat, sleep, and train. And I may do a little bit of work in here and there because I don't want to go stir crazy because I can't just sit in a house. I've always been a worker,
yeah.
but I will have that that different aspect of, hey, you can pull back a little bit in this aspect of life so you can focus more on here, the long-term goal, which is being the best athlete that I can be.
I would choose the top three wealthiest clients and keep them. That's it.
That's my plan. The rest
Well,
I'm gonna tell them, hey, I'm gonna start a bidding war. I'm gonna say, hey, well, this
why
guy
not?
pays this guy pays that, and then I'll go from there. But I have to, man. It'll suck to leave them, but at some point I have to focus on what I'm doing if I want to be the
Exactly.
best at this.
Yeah, and like anyone who doubts that you're washed up or whatever already, guys,
Oh,
you have no idea. This guy is
man,
just getting started.
that's what
This
I try
is
to tell man. I'm like, you guys, just trust me. I'm new, and when I say that, yeah, I mean that in a few different aspects. So this body is fresh. It's has not been through the ringer, and I have some time. I have
yeah.
some time, and I'm going to utilize it very well. And like I said before, the guys that do doubt or say that, man, they're going to have to eat their words. And I'll tell them, oh, it's okay, man. I know you were just misguided at that time. But
Yeah.
come on back. We're cool.
So I know you got to head off to the gym soon. What are you training today?
I have legs today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, man. So legs, and let me tell you, Ron, it is such a different feeling when you train when you've been eating like crazy.
Dude,
You know,
legs especially.
man, it's because I haven't had that feeling. I don't think ever in my training, and so
Wow.
now I'm making it a point to get a lot of food in. And when I go train, my body it's just like it can go forever. And the pumps are crazy. It's insane, man. So I'm excited about this again. Not that I wasn't in the first place, but now it's like it's new because now I'm working with a new body, new tools, more fuel, and I think it's going to pay off in the long run.
So we're getting ready to see Patrick Moore 3.0.
Yeah, it's going to be
The
much
USA
better.
was 1.0.
Yeah,
I'd say the first few pro shows 2.0. Next time we see you, it's going to be something very different. I really believe that.
it will be, man. I promise you. I stand by my word. This time it's going to be something different. I took a little knock, but I keep going, and this one's going to be good.
Yeah, because you know what, guys, it's genetics are one thing, but this is where it all happens, and you've got a
100%.
you've got a strong mind, a strong will. You're gonna be just fine, Patrick. I know you will.
Yes, sir,
So,
my man.
all right.
Oh,
Well,
and
thank
congrats on
you.
the on,
Yeah,
on Redcon too with Aaron Seaman, man. That's awesome. Yeah,
yeah, good stuff, man.
that's
Good
really
stuff.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I love that. I do. I've been loving their products for a while. I've been stealing every time they're like not looking at their little booth. I go by and swipe like a couple samples and throw them in my backpack. But I
Yeah,
don't have to. I don't have to do that now. Now they actually will send them to me. So we're all
you
good.
deserve it, man.
Thank you, man. So thanks. Have a great workout. Appreciate you taking the time. And guys, you're just seeing the very tip of the iceberg with Patrick Moore. He is the future. I stand by that nickname. We're keeping it. Patrick Moore, the
We're
future.
keeping it. We're
Thanks
keeping it, man.
everybody for watching Ronline Report. Thank you, Patrick. Stay safe. Make sure you wipe all that stuff down in the gym, please.
I was,
Wash your hands and all that good
you
stuff.
know it,
Yeah.
man. I'm one of the cleanest human beings roaming the earth right
Right
now.
on. All right, cool. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for watching Ronline Report with Patrick Moore. We'll see you next time.